This book should have been like this book, because this book, Legend by David Gemmell, is indeed about defending a walled city. So, eh, if you didn't, I read this book, I have my review up. Go check it out if you want. Not so good. Not a fan of it. So let's talk about this one, Legend by David Gemmell. This is a great standalone. I'm going to say standalone, even though it's part of a long series set in the same world, because there's this book and then the next one happens like 100 years later. So I'm going to say standalone, and it is fantastic. It is a complete story, pretty much. But it is about defending a walled city from an invading force. And it follows, if you go online and look up like the summaries, it says it's all about the legend Druss. And Druss is going to this walled city against all the odds. He's going to save this city from the invading force. Or is he? Well, it's kind of about Druss. There's a lot about Druss, but it's really also about this guy named Rek, who kind of finds himself, through a series of events, he finds himself at the same walled city as the legend Druss, and he plays a big role too. So what makes this book great is it's fast-paced. There's not a lot of dwelling on moments. There's not a ton of backstory and a lot of dialogue or explaining or just describing things. It just moves to the point where almost it's too fast. Like there'll be a battle, like a whole day's battle will be in like one little paragraph, and a couple seemingly important people die, and you're like, oh, okay, that just happened, and you're moving on. But it's good if you just want something fast and fun that has to do with really people being heroic. This is a great book. Great book. It doesn't start from the onset being about this city. We follow Rek, who is he meets this girl who is the daughter of an earl. She's trying to get a message somewhere, and it leads them back to this city where Druss has found himself as well. Um, so yeah, there's a little bit building at the beginning, and then all the fights and battles at the end. And it's kind of strange because, like I said, there's not a lot of dwelling on details or too much backstory or dialogue, but it's enough, and it does enough to kind of make you want to know more. There are some like mystical elements, these people who can see the future, and there's some on both sides. So at one point, one is trying to like invade the protective bubble that's going around this fortress set by the enemy side, and they give you just enough to think you understand, but you're just like, oh, I want to know more about what they can see, what they can do, because they give hints of things. And even some of them are like, I can't really explain it, and I myself don't have all the answers. So it's really good. The fight scenes are great, a lot of gore, of course. But like I said, it just moves. They've got different rings of walls, and when one gets taken, all right, we're moving to the other one and changing our tactics. You get a bit of building up of the army of the city, because the city folk, it's just like farmers and shopkeepers. They're not fighters. And one interesting thing is this is kind of interesting because even before Druss gets there, the legend, he knows it's a losing battle. These other people who Rek go and meet, they can see, and they're like, you're all gonna die, right? It's a losing battle. But they go, and Druss goes, and he looks around. He's like, oh yeah, this is this is not going to end well. But we fight. So it is really against David versus Goliath, and no spoilers for now. But it's fun. It's fun. It's easy. It gets to the point, and then it's done. And having seen that the second one is 100 years later, and it kind of tied to what's going on, then you're like, oh, okay, I think I want to continue on with this series. This is the first time I read anything from this series, and good, a very good impression. So I'm going to leave it there for no spoilers. Go check it out. Come back for the spoiler section. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you guys later. If you have read the book, let's talk spoilers. I do like, there's a lot of like little lines, little moments that the author throws in here. I just like this style of writing of just big dudes being strong and tough and a little sarcastic and dry with their humor. And that part when Druss is in that pub where he sees all the deserters, and he's decides he's gonna go, or no, he's already decided to go. Anywho, the one dude, he challenges people, right? And he wins, but then that one dude's like, no, 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 we're gonna finish this, and then he kills him. And I'm gonna read here what it says. It says, he gets back up and he's killed, and he didn't know that the guy was Druss, and the other guys were like, "That was Druss." Is like, that was his hero. That was his hero. He always wanted to meet him. And one guy was like, "Well, he met him. He met him, and he's gone." I honestly, a lot of the fighting and the stuff with building the army, pretty normal stuff, right? Nothing fancy going on. It's just, all right, here comes this army. We got to train these people. We got to, and this is why I said it's, I don't know, it felt better than this one. Again, the main character in this one was just a jerk, but you got different viewpoints from people who had different responsibilities. From Druss to Wreck to even some of the side characters who were just on the wall, and they'd just be talking back and forth about random stuff. So it gave you a really good big picture of things. Same with the one dude with his name starts with an O. Can't remember his name. Doesn't matter. But I liked it. You got a nice overall and top-down view of what's going on with a bunch of different areas in the city. So I really like that. We got the spy. Yeah, that kind of plays a little role. But what I was talking about was, and I can't remember, they're called the 30, with Serbitar and Vintar. And it's just weird how they know these things. And this is what I'm talking about. It's like there's got to be more with these people, right? Who can see these things. And I feel like, I would hope in the future books, they kind of expand on it more. Maybe give you more insight. Or maybe people who have studied this, what would you even call it? Religion, or I don't know, this kind of magic. I think there's so much more to be discovered or told about there. Then we're gonna go right to the end here, because like I said, most of it, there's not a lot of big backstabbing or like, oh my goodness moment. It's very straightforward, and I love that. We get to the part where what's her face, Rex's wife, what's her name, Vire, or shot with the arrow, dies. And like I said, that happens so quick. And I liked that a chapter would end and the next chapter would start either in the middle of a battle or just right when the battle's starting. And I think this one, it was only like a page or less where the battle starts, they're up fighting. Because I think it's told from the view of a Nadir fighter about the guy with the bear sark going nuts and his warrior woman. And she just gets shot in the chest, falls down. He's in his mood, so they can't tell him he's not going to come here, and she's just gone. And the next thing you know, he's like up in his room looking out the window crying, and you're like, geez, that happened fast. Okay. Then he goes down and he finds that bronze armor at the sword, has that dream with the spider and snake, which I thought, again, was really cool, right? She's there, and he kills the spider, kills the snake, and then his sword's gone. They find it up on the wall, covered in blood, and what's his name? Nastakhan, beheaded in the tent. That's what I'm talking about. There's some weird stuff going on with this magic, and I would like to know a little bit more about how it works. Maybe not everything to ruin the complete mystery of it all, but you're just like, well, how did that happen? Interesting, interesting. Because you can get pretty down in the weeds with going into someone's dreams as a different animal, but if they hurt you in the dream, you get hurt. So I don't know how far I would want them to go with that. I like the mystery of it. And then, of course, we get the poison blade, gets gangrene, bedridden for a while. How in the world does he get up? There's a few questions about how in the world did that happen. Survives long enough for that last hurrah. He goes down swinging. And there's so many moments in this book of people just doing the heroic thing, standing up, cutting down 5-10 men, and just And then like that one part where he just sits up against the wall and sleeps, just immediately falls asleep. I think they carried him away somewhere because they're like, don't let them see he sleeps. He's not human. He's a legend. He's a god. But yeah, you read it. So many good moments. I did take a peek at some of the reviews at the next book. I guess it's with the grandchildren of Wreck and what's his face. Look, I just finished this and I forgot his name. Oh, what's his name? Ulrich, right? So I think it'll be good. I think I am going to check that out at some point because this was very enjoyable to read, very interesting. I said it gave you just enough to want more, not enough to bore you. So I like that. I guess that's all I have to say. Enjoyable stuff. Really glad I found it. It's been on my e-reader for a while. I don't know why I just now checked it out, but I'm not sure what I'm going to read next. I did just buy, if you're an avid viewer of the channel, which I know all two of you are, you'll have noticed I did get The Lord of the Rings. Never read The Lord of the Rings. Seen the movies, of course, but never read them. Read The Hobbit, wasn't a big fan, so we'll see. I just went all in and bought these. So may jump into those, or I may find one more standalone something just for a quick read and see how it goes. But anywho, comment down below. Let me know what you think about this book. And if you've read more of the series, let me know. Do they get better? Does it stay? Do all the books stay this nice, short, fresh, to the point action and, ends? I'm also wondering too if all the books are standalones. Like, do they all jump years and years ahead, or if any of them start to like be more continuous in one time period? Anywho, I guess I'll have to find out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you later.